In this video, I'm going to talk about self-worth realization for those of you who may need a reminder about who you really are. And I'm going to pick up where I left off in my previous video, remembering your self-worth, question everything that makes you doubt your value. Hi, I'm Nikki from HereToWakeUp.com, and I help people stay accountable and connected to Divine Spirit on their awakening journey. I've been spiritually awakened for 15 years now, self-realized for 10, and I am here to help and to be of service to kind-hearted souls that are ready to progress. So if that's you, welcome to my channel, The Healthy Wealthy Recluse. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. Make yourself at home. And I also want to say thank you so much to my new subscribers. I really appreciate you. On this channel, I make videos about spiritual wealth, healing, and relationships. So if you find that you like it here, let me know in the comments and consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Even dislikes help the channel. So thank you so much for watching all of this video. Self-worth realization. So as I mentioned earlier, this video picks up where my previous video left off, and that video is called Remembering Your Self-Worth, Question Everything That Makes You Doubt Your Value. And in that video, I talked about human self-worth. If you haven't seen it yet, you can click the iCard that's up on the screen right now and go watch. Just make sure you come back to this video when you're done. Thank you so much. Because in this video, I'm going to talk about spiritual self-worth and what self-worth realization means from a spiritual perspective. So when I talk about the spiritual self, or the uppercase S self, I'm talking about the true self, which is our actual real identity as an eternal divine child or extension of the divine creator. And this is the self that I'm usually talking about when I talk about self-worth. Some refer to it as the I am presence. Sometimes I call it the Christ self, which I know the word Christ can be a huge trigger for some. But if you want to know exactly what I mean, you can go to HereToWakeUp.com, and I have a section that describes, in detail what I mean. So you can check that out if you're interested. But again, just make sure you come back and finish watching the rest of this video when you're done. Thank you. So when it comes to the spiritual self, I look at self-worth as the worth and the value that we have and that we are as pure spirit, as we are truly created. So I'm not talking about the human spirit, because that's something different. And maybe I'll talk about that in another video. But for this video, I'm talking about pure divine spirit and being a child of the true divine creator, because this is where our worthiness comes from. It's determined by the one that created and extended us. So as a child of God, and sometimes I say God, sometimes I say creator, sometimes I say divine creator, sometimes I say he, she, it, but I'm talking about, the almighty presence. So as a child of this almighty presence, our worth is absolute. It's infinite, it's eternal, and it transcends any kind of worldly value or what's perceived as value in the world, including your so-called net worth. Our actual worth goes so far beyond anything material that I don't think I can stress that enough. So our worth then is whatever the creator says it is. And not only that, it's whatever the creator's worth is. Like Yeshua says, I and my Father are one. The I am and the creator are one. So you see me spiritually, you're looking at who created me spiritually. We're like his representatives, when we're at our best. We're showing who he is, to the extent that we're capable. It's like that saying, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, or, we're a chip off the old block, Wayne Dyer used to say this thing, may he rest in peace. And for those who may be unaware, he's a very well known spiritual teacher and author. And I remember hearing him say, I must be like what I come from, meaning I must be like what created me. So, as extensions of the Creator, we have the same qualities, the same attributes, um, the same value. So if you can understand God's value, you can understand yours as his child. And when you develop a close relationship with the creator, then you know exactly how he feels about you and how valuable you truly are to him, how important you are to him, how your happiness and your well-being matters to him. You know, when you have that relationship, you know how much he cares about you and adores you because it's a deep feeling and a knowingness that you have within you that is very real. And of course, you can get confirmation and validation of his love for you from spiritual texts that you're guided to, from relationships. It can show up in many different ways and manifestations, since that's how God works through people and through the symbols of the world, right? It can show up in many different ways, not to mention um, the things that don't show up, right? That had they shown up could have harmed us or put us in danger. You know, can you imagine all the times that we were kept safe and out of harm's way, you know, without even knowing it? You know, all the close calls that we weren't even aware of, right? We were just completely oblivious because the Creator was protecting us with our spiritual staff and our team and, you know, a whole heap of angels assigned to us, moving, you know, under God's command at the ready, on call for us while we're just going on about our business, not even realizing what's going on. And even if things did seem to happen, just know how much worse it could have been without God's grace and security. You know, I know that we have to sometimes, you know, go through things so we can be strong and we can see what we're made of, but most importantly, so that we can wake up from this world and this matrix, right? Sometimes there's extreme things so we can wake up out of it and see the reality that is beyond it. You know, I can think of before I was even on this path, you know, just being young, out with friends, partying, all that stuff. And I could recognize that there's some grace and there's some protection going on there. And I feel like there is divine intervention to a degree, but at some point you have to awaken to what's going on so that you can be open and receptive to God's grace and mercy as well. So I say all of that to say we are tremendously valuable. So to me, this is what real, true self worth is. It's the value that we are given, that we have, and that we are as a divine, eternal, spiritual being and child of God. And so self worth realization is just about coming into this awareness and realizing this about yourself and knowing, you know, how priceless you actually are, and realizing also how much you are worth it when it comes to taking the time and the mind energy needed to do the work on yourself and your relationship with the creator. And to kind of clarify, I'm not talking, you know, about self-realization here. I'm talking about self-worth realization, which to me is slightly different because even though, yes, I'm talking about remembering who you really are, and that's important because when you know who you are, you automatically know your value. It's just that I don't feel that knowing that you're a spiritual being automatically means you're self-realized, because to me, self realization is much deeper. I look at self realization and enlightenment as being the same thing. I use those two terms, you know, interchangeably. And I don't think that you have to be in that highest state of awareness just to know that you have value as a spiritual being. I don't think you have to be in that highest state of awareness to feel how much God loves you as his child and to know how important you are to him. You understand? You can be just waking up and still know your worth as a spirit. So I just wanted to make that distinction. And I have a video called What Does Enlightenment Mean? Where I talk more about that. You can click the iCard, or if you're just listening, you can, search it on the channel. And if you feel like you could use some help with, clearing your mind and your energy field, which will make it easier for you to connect with yourself, or if you could use some insight or some help staying on track and staying accountable while you're going through your self-worth realization, journey and process, you can email me at the address in the description below, or you can go to heretowakeup.com and email me there, or you can reach out in the comments if you're comfortable, doing that so that others can benefit as well from whatever, you're sharing or asking. So, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you and your time and your attention because honestly, you could be doing literally anything else right now. So, thank you so much for watching, especially if you watch to the end of this video. Thank you so much for that. I hope you receive some value from this. So, stay tuned for the next one and remember to love yourself because that's the real wealth. Take care.